friends, and welcome to your horoscope for May of 2022, where you may notice we are in a little bit of a different setting this month. So it's my small way of taking you on vacation to Arizona with me. So hopefully if you're not getting to go on a vacation, this can be just like a little breath of fresh air for you, and we'll be back into our normal space next month. But more importantly is what's actually happening in the cosmos this month. First of all, we have got Mercury stepping into retrograde, which doesn't mean go hide under a rock. We just want to have some standard practice ideas to pay attention to, and noting the degrees of the retrograde in your chart so that you can work with that accurately. We'll also have Jupiter stepping into the energy of Aries. We will have a lunar eclipse happening in the energy of Scorpio. Mars and Venus both move into domicile this month as well. So it's a pretty busy month. Now I want you to note at the beginning of this reading to please mark on your calendar as we get to about the 5th of the month, moving all the way until the 20th of the month. There's a lot of intensity in terms of energy, very much so specifically around the 10th as well. And we'll get there and I'll tell you why, okay? All right, Leo, let's see what's going on. So right at the beginning of the month on the 2nd, we're going to have Venus moving into the energy of Aries. Now this can make love and romance and money, and this is in your 9th house. So this desire to travel or to know information or to share information or to publish or market or broadcast, it can make it so that you're impulsive, you're impatient, you're bold, you want to go out there. But if you use Venus instead of a go get it, attract it, take it to my lair kind of energy, instead if you use Venus as an attracting energy, you can use that to attract business to you, attract views, attract good diplomacy around your research. You can attract a lovely voice. Something about you looks attractive as you're putting your work out into the world. It can ease up a deal, or you can find a deal or a bargain when you are traveling. The value of things, you can allow it to boldly, assertively, and confidently come to you instead of going out to track it down. But Venus is still Venus, you know, she likes to bring some diplomacy, some ease, some beauty, some pleasure to your 9th house. So if this is also that you are taking a trip, and that doesn't mean you have to be physically going on vacation. Are you just really getting into a series of some educational content or something online, or you found a podcast? Whatever it is, attract in. Allow that smooth, easy pleasure to come to you as Venus is attracted into your 9th house. Now, for some of you as well, Leos, you may have work that is associated with travel. This could be another strong expression of Venus in this area. When we get to the 3rd, Jupiter and Pluto, who's now retrograde, are going to come into a sextile with one another. As they sextile, they create a pocket of opportunity, but then you're intelligently taking action to take advantage of the opportunity presented. So one of the questions I have for you, especially as some of this energy we'll see around your 8th house, is what is important to you right now? What are you motivated by? Where do you feel this desire, Leo, to grow, where you're like, I have this ambition to achieve this particular thing, and I have this also great understanding and desire to grow towards it, and a willingness. It's really a very positive and optimistic, I think, placement. And especially because Pluto is retrograde, you're already looking back at the structures and the changes. And Pluto being an outer planet, it's also made space for the resources that you have available to step out into the world. It's almost as if the world has made a space for you. Now, where do you want to go? Where's that sense of purpose taking you? The opportunity is provided on this day, so use it wisely. Between the 4th and the 5th, we're going to see the Sun and Uranus traveling together, and I just want to tell you, we'll get into this more in the weekly horoscope, but expect the unexpected, okay? It's happening in Taurus. This is up at the tip top of your chart, the career house. Expect the unexpected. And if you're not working, you don't have a formal career that you're in, think about also, what do we know you for in public? What is your title in the world? Even those things count in the 10th house, because it's really about what do we know you as and what are you doing that you're offering out to the world, okay? Now on the 10th, Leo, very energetically busy day. So I just want you to be mindful of it. And it's just a few days before the eclipse as well. So the intensity of energy is absolutely on the table. Now, first and foremost, we're going to see Mercury taking a retrograde. And this is going to be a retrograde at 4 degrees of Gemini. It will back up all the way until we get to till we get to June 3rd to 26 degrees of Taurus. Now, the entirety of that Mercury retrograde cycle we've already been in. We saw Mercury go into pre-retrograde shadow time at 26 degrees of Taurus on the 26th of April. And it will end the entirety of this retrograde period on June 18th at 4 degrees of Gemini. So really where you're focusing in, Leo, is between 4 degrees of Gemini backing up to 26 degrees of Taurus. So in this area of your chart, from 26 degrees of Taurus to 4 degrees of Gemini, what have you been working on? Because the retrograde will take you back to re-editing, revising, reconnecting, reuniting with that particular energy. So whatever it's about, that's what this Mercury retrograde is encompassing. Now, as a note, if you have Mercury retrograde in your chart, Leo, this can actually be an energy that feels like it's pulling you out instead of sending you in. What are plans that you've been making? Things you've been thinking about behind the scenes and you haven't been able to present them out. During the Mercury retrograde, you may be actually getting a very comfortable call out to the world while the rest of us are rushing in. Now, also on that day, we're going to see Jupiter move into the energy of Aries, okay? And this is just a preview of what we're going to get as Jupiter does its full cycle through Aries. But first we get this preview between May and October. Now, as Jupiter moves into the energy of Aries, I just feel like, where are you ready to expand, Leo? And it doesn't mean that you have to run headlong at publishing, marketing, and broadcasting. It's simply the question of, where are you ready for the experience of expanding your horizon? Where are you ready to share your wisdom, gain your wisdom, have this greater experience? But the experience, quite specifically, Leo, has to do with what you think is worth fighting for. Your wisdom has taught you that, to me, this ninth house thing, education, training, certification, publishing, marketing, broadcasting, language, travel, immigration, international things that have to do with the law. This is worth fighting for to me. And Jupiter will expand this out and you'll begin to have those opportunities. So very busy day here on the 10th. Just note that it will be busy energetically and make room to be as flexible as you can, okay? On the 16th now, we roll into this full moon lunar eclipse at 25 degrees of Scorpio. So check that on your chart. Now, the full moon does say that something needs to be ended, acknowledged, or adjusted. In the energy of Scorpio, we're pulling into the home zone for you, right? We're pulling into where it's like, all right, what's going on in my domestic zone? What's going on in my body? What's going on in what I call home? What's going on with my family, my parents, my siblings? What is happening in this area for me? Now, the Taurus energy that is lighting up the tip top of your chart, we've had a solar eclipse there. Many of you started working on whatever this Taurus development was in November of 2021. And now this lunar eclipse behind the solar eclipse in Taurus last month is actually releasing you from power struggle, or bringing your attention to where the power struggle is at, that's stopping that Taurus blessing from coming to fruition. So at 25 degrees of Scorpio in your chart, nicely connected to Mars, to Neptune, to Pluto, but squaring Saturn, whatever you've been power struggling with, and it's time to surrender it so that you can mature and let this come to the next level, so that you can have that emotional space and freedom, vulnerability that meets neutrality, right? Which means people can do what they do and you remain unaffected because you're just doing your journey, but there's also a depth and a weight and an intimacy to you that your fellows can feel you connecting through. So what is this for you that really allows that 10th house to shine? As we get to the 20th, the sun is going to come into the energy of Gemini, bringing light, heat, life, and vitality to your 11th house. The social spheres are beginning to get busy, but at the same time, we do have Mercury retrograding in the energy of Gemini. So maybe you saw some things right? You, in your Gemini energy, you said, I'm curious about this. I'm networking this way. I've been having this communication. I've got this contract. I need to buy this house, sell this house. Whatever it was, it's kind of been in your sphere. Maybe it didn't fully get off the ground, and now as the sun comes in, you can actually use that, especially because a couple days later, Mercury's retrograde will move it past the sun back into the energy of Taurus. Okay, so now it's like, zoop, we're doing this kind of deal. So the energy's moving forward, the mind is still moving backwards a little bit, okay? So that said, on the 22nd, Mercury will move back into the energy of Taurus. So again, pay attention between 29 and 26 degrees of Taurus of what you've been working on, because the Mercury retrograde is serving as an opportunity for you to return to this area, review it, reconnect, re-edit, whatever you need to redo, including my Mercury retrograde friends, bring it out to the people, okay? On the 24th, we see Mars move into the energy of Aries, comfortable in domicile, ready to go. You're ready to take action and make some decisions in this 9th house area of your chart. Now, you have had information, if nothing else, coming to you in this area, and now it's time for action. Mars in Aries, the thing I want you to keep in mind is to focus your action and your energy to the best of your ability on one thing, in one direction. Do one thing at a time. Be in one direction at a time. Mars is a single-minded energy in Aries, okay? So do what you're doing, do it well, be present with it, and allow that energy to flow. Now, Mars is still Mars. If there is a fight, if there is a battle, if there is something about your identity that you are having to push forward to birth that thing, you may very much so feel that energy here. On the 28th, we see Venus move into the energy of Taurus. So very, very comfortable at home in a home domicile sign. So this brings up the pleasure principle, right? At the top of your chart, do you enjoy your work? Are you taking an appropriate break and lunch break at your work? When you go home from work, whatever that is, even if your job is at home, are you making a space to pleasure and come down from the working world? Do you enjoy who you are and what you're known for in this world, right? Do you need other people? Do you need more pleasure, more joy, more ease, more diplomacy coming in to the work that you're doing? Venus is about that pleasure principle, but it's also about finance. It's also about relations. It's also about romance. So whatever it is, here in power, in Taurus, you're able to attract this to this area of your chart. Now, I happen to believe as well, when Venus comes to the midheaven or to the IC, we can also see people coming into our lives or leaving our lives. We can see money coming into our lives, like promotions and opportunities. We can also see a greater need to spend money. So one of these ways, Venus is sending out that signal and it's attracting to you exactly what needs to be happening in that space and time. But I would really look to, do you have pleasure? The other thing I want to share with you about the 10th house is because it's also about title instead of just about your work. If you are in relationships with people, whether they be romantic or partnership of some variety, the question of, is there pleasure and joy in this relationship will become very pronounced, I think, all the way until June 22nd. Now, as we're closing out this month, we've got the new moon happening at 9 degrees of Gemini. And of course, this is going to light up your 11th house space. So Leo, you have the opportunity to plant your seeds of intention. What are you curious about? What's this new thing that you maybe want to put out there? You've been thinking about it. You've been playing with it for a while. And now you need to communicate that. You need to network that out there, right? It is a courageous energy. It is a curious energy. It is a communication energy. And you're planting your seeds of intention to allow your ideas out or your conversations or your decisions to flower. So make good use of this particular new moon, because remember, at the new moon, what you plant in your beautiful fertile soil for the month, for good or for ill, you are going to work with for about 4 weeks. So you really want to make sure that this is something for you that intuitively feels like this is a cause that is important for me to speak to, fight for, or research or be curious about, okay? All right, Leo, it's an action-packed month. I'm not going to lie. I actually think it's one of our more energetically busy months. So ground, hydrate, rest, make sure you've got a pleasure principle in your life. And of course, let me know how the month manifests for you in the comment section down below. Like this video, comment, share, subscribe. I love you a ton, and I'll see you next time. Bye, beautiful Leos.